Hello there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Backtracking, the show where I listen to a band's catalogue of studio albums and tell you which ones I like and which ones I didn't like as much. This time it's a two-part episode, as well as a request from my friend CJ Perkins. This episode is about Skillet. Also, yesterday, for those of you who saw my UFC review, I did say I was going to do both parts today. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do part one today and part two tomorrow. So, just clearing that up. Anyway, back with the main thing. Now, the genre of Christian rock is extremely controversial. Then again, with me being an agnostic, I can remain more objective to my feelings on religion, especially considering that the last backtracking episode I did was about a band named Lamb of God, and they're not religious at all. That only serves to prove that, like Skillet, I can listen to a bunch of different styles and genres and throw them all into the pan. Only unlike Skillet, I don't come out with really good music. Just weird ramblings about music that I think is either good or bad. Anyway, let's get this on like it is Donkey Kong on his honeymoon. This time, it's Skillet. So we start with their self-titled debut album released in 1996. Listening to their debut compared to how they sound now was weird, kind of weird for me. Their debut was a lot more grungy and angsty in some places, much more than their current work, and they only had three members at the time, with the only constant member being lead singer and bassist John Cooper, who was 21 years old when their first album came out. I know. Other members include original drummer Trey McClurkin and longtime lead guitarist Ken Stortz, whose surname isn't spelled as it sounds phonetically, which annoys me a little bit. Anyway, back to the album itself. As I mentioned earlier, it's quite grungy, and the best comparison that I can make is that it's what Nirvana would sound like if they ever discovered God. Hell, the song You Thought in the album has parts that sound suspiciously like Heart Shaped Box by Nirvana. That's not even a joke. Listen to those two songs back to back, and tell me that you don't hear the similarities. Standout songs of the album itself include Paint, You Thought, obviously, Boundaries, and my favourite song on the album is Promise Blender. Delicious. Their debut is okay all in all. Listen to it once, and if you like it, listen to it again. Who am I to stop you? It's just not something I would repeat personally. We move on to their second album, released in 1998, called Hey You, I Love Your Soul. What a weird title that is. Anyway, the sound of this album is a lot different from their debut. There's still that slight grunge tinge and edge here and there, with Jonathan's just naturally raspy singing voice being the culprit, but the album has more of an industrial sound to it. It mixes industrial rock with Christian rock, and mixing industrial rock and Christian rock with lyricism of Christianity is a weird mix, but it actually works really well in the album itself, and as a result of that, the album became the blueprint for what the band is better known for nowadays, what with mixing more elements of electronic music and heavy guitar and drum work, just sounding better. The production is a lot better as well. The only complaint I have is that the album does kind of drag on a little bit from time to time, much like the episodes of the show. Some of the songs are longer than they have any right to be, and the album itself is just over 47 minutes in length, which isn't too bad, but that length just doesn't feel filled in properly. It doesn't feel justified. Standout songs include the title track, Take, Pour, Whirlwind, and my favourite song in Dive Over In. Hey You, I Love Your Soul definitely feels like a step in the right direction when compared to their debut, which is odd to say because for their first few works they just threw things at a wall and waited to see what would stick. But hey, if it's good enough for them, then what more do you need? Listen to the album, it's a pretty decent step up from their debut. Next up is Invincible, released in 2000. The album keeps the electronic elements that the band explored in Hey You, I Love Your Soul, but with some lineup changes. Ken Stortz is replaced by Kevin Harland, and for the first one we have John Cooper's wife Corey as a member, which is pretty damn awesome. I do like Corey, she's cool. Whilst it does contain many elements of Hey You, I Love Your Soul sound, it's a bit more beepy. I know. Hang on. Sorry about that, I had to go check something. Anyway, yeah, the album feels more beepy. I know that's not a word, but it's the one I'm going to use, so deal with it. There's more production value on the more electronic sounding parts of the album, and it very much feels like an evolution of Hey You. Yes, I'm calling their last album Hey You because I don't want to waste your time as much as I usually do by saying the full name. Regardless, the addition of Corey is more than welcome, actually, usually because of one of the key members of the band, still today obviously, and that's not just because she's married to John, but it is true in itself. She is a very pivotal member, what with her ability to play some really good rhythm guitar riffs, can jam on the keyboard well, and sings back up beautifully. She becomes the backbone of the band in that way. Standout songs on Invincible include the title track, which is not to be confused with a similarly titled song from Unleashed, which we'll get to tomorrow. Other songs are Take My Rights Away, I Trust You, The One, and my standout in You're Powerful. In short, Invincible is a really good step forward from Hey You, and it's worth a few run-throughs. We then reached their fourth album, Ardent Worship, which was released only 7 months after Invincible. That's mental. Now, as I was looking this album up, I was hesitant to include it because, as a rule, I don't cover live albums in this series. But I asked CJ, was the one who requested it, if he thought that this would count as a live album or a studio album. He said studio album, so I'm including it. I mean, the band is performing live, but it sounds quite a lot like a studio album. That just proves how good they are. 2 of the songs that appear are songs that featured on previous Skillet works, but besides that, not much else is new, minus the fact that this is the first album to feature Laurie Peters as the band's new drummer, with Ray McClurkin and Ken Stewart only having written 2 songs, one of which is Safe With You from the self-titled album, and the other being the last track in Shout to the Lord. The other song that they had already done was Angels Fall Down, which was a hidden track on their last album, Invincible, followed on from that album's last track, You're In My Brain. I rambled a lot. Anyway, back to this album. Despite being live and some of the songs being covers, it sounds very much like an original studio album. Plus, it features new songs, so that has to count for something. There's more of a worship thing going for the album, but it doesn't sound too bad or drag on much. It does a little bit, but it doesn't drag on too much. Standout songs include How Deep the Father's Love for Us, We're Thirsty, Sing for the Lord, and my favourite song in Jesus Be Glorified. All in all, Ardent Worship is a pleasant surprise. Give it a go. And things would just continue to get better for the band in their 5th album, Alien Youth, released in 2001. This is just a really good album, and it might be one of my favourites by them. It lays out the benchmark that would soon become the band's signature sound, with hard-hitting industrial work combined effortlessly with the band's overall positive message. I also like to think that there's a concept for the album title I like. The youth of today, or the youth of 2001 at least, is alienated from the message that God wants to spread. As I've mentioned, I'm trying to keep religion out of this episode and out the series as a whole, but I like the message all in all. It's just really, really positive. Feeling like aliens yourselves, waiting for aliens to show up, with aliens being a metaphor for God, I just think that's a really cool idea. The album was also the first to include longtime guitarist Ben Kasica, who joined late in the recording process after Kevin Harlan left, and Ben only recorded guitars on the song Earth Invasion. It's a really good 5th effort from the band, and proof that they just continued to stay strong. Standout songs include Vapor, Kill Me, Heal Me, Stronger, The First to Taking Over, and my favourite tune being the more subdued Will You Be There, where the vocals of John and Corey Cooper go together so effortlessly. Long story short, Alien Youth is probably the first example of modern day Skillet, despite coming out 15 years ago. It's really, really good, so give it a listen. Anyway, that's part 1 of this episode, really done. Join me tomorrow for part 2, where I'll be talking about the last 5 of their albums, Collide, all the way to Unleashed. I hope to see you all tomorrow. And not later, as I promised, but tomorrow. Take care. Oh, and quickly. There we go. I don't know if you heard that noise, but it was adorable. He always makes a noise when he's waking up. Anyway, see ya.